We are joined over the phone by Dr. Yomn Hamaki, Professor of Economics at Ain Shams University. Good afternoon, Dr. Yomn, and Happy New Year to you.
Good evening and Happy New Year to all of us.
Yes, Dr. Yomn, what is the importance of issuing a state ownership document?
Actually, the visionary approach behind such, document is to enable the private sector to have its role in developing the economy.
Yes.
Since lately, all researches and all recommendations from international organizations prove that the role of private sector in the Egyptian economy has decreased significantly. And we cannot achieve a better economic growth with such participation, minimal participation of the private sector. From here it comes that it needs from policymakers to figure out what were the reasons behind that, first of all, and then how to solve such problem by specifying activities in which the government or the public sector should reduce its share for the benefit of the private sector. And according to that, they have revised all the activities that the government has increased its participation in it, and trying to figure out what are the activities that the government should, reduce its role in favor of the private sector. And according to that, the next step after discussing such a document, the next step is to specify what are the mechanisms which they can achieve this transformation into the private sector.
Yes, Dr. Yomn, also, if we talk about the main items of these documents and the most important ones.
The main part is about some activities,
yes.
The private sector can do it better from the public compared to the public sector. And this has been proved by experiences in Egypt and in other countries. And according, activities regarding tourism, activities regarding different types of services that can be provided more efficient by the private sector compared to the public sector. And this can be actually a very important way towards, increasing the role of the private sector. Since you have the activity, you are asking private sector to participate, and you are specifying the mechanism by which private sector can contribute in a better way. And actually, what we need to see in reality, that the environment is going to be conducive towards a more participation of the private sector. And when you, provide such conditions, I believe that you have to be quite clear regarding what is the role of government, what the government can do in to achieve, mutual benefit between the public and private interest. And this is actually the core role of the government, how to restore competition in markets, how to address monopolies in the market, and all this, it needs database about activities, the production index, so that the government can manage its role properly.
Yes. How does the state's ownership document contribute to investment promotion?
It's just a document to, to put the visionary approach towards
yes.
increasing the role of the private sector, in what fields, in what activities. And I believe it needs more work to be done regarding the mechanism, whether it's going to be through the stock market or by other sources of partnership, And I believe this needs a lot of work to be done, and a dialogue between the private sector and the government to specify what are the needs of the private sector, to how extent we can encourage small business to be part of such more contribution of the private sector. I believe all this should be done properly enough and according to the efficiency of doing such homework. I believe this will be reflected on a real increase in the participation of the private sector in economic activities.
So, Dr. Yomna, what are the main sectors in which the state will cooperate with the private sector?
I believe we need to concentrate on the industrial sector, since the industrial sector can be an engine of growth for Egypt. And we can rely on the industrial sector in exportation. We need to go towards export promotion strategy. And we have the capability to do that, since actually we had our studies as economists proved that we have a comparative advantage in ready-made clothes, in leather products, in handicrafts, food industries. So all this comparative advantage can be turned into competitive advantage by referring to technology and increasing the role of the private sector. And according to that, we should put priorities, What are the priorities of such export promotion? And besides that, we can rely to import substitution, giving, incentives to those industries that can produce at home what we are importing nowadays. And they can gain by time competitive advantage. Actually, this is the experience of China. This is what China has done and other successful experiences in order to make the industrial sector to be actually an engine of growth for such countries.
Yes, so Dr. Yomna, as we are starting a new year, 2023, what are your expectations for economic performance, and how do you see the economic reform program till now?
Actually, Egypt is full of opportunities.
Yes,
we have a lot of opportunities that can, guide us to a rate of growth, from my point of view, that can be exceeding 10% even. We can reach the two-digit rate of growth very, very easy, taking into consideration mega projects nowadays. But unfortunately, we are suffering from lack of economic management of our resources.
Yes.
This is actually our problem, and the coordination and the visionary approach among, ministries in cooperation with civil society. I believe if we can, support and if we can address such, problems and obstacles, I believe Egypt can move into a very better situation regarding economic growth. We wish and hope that 2023 can be, inshallah, a year of, achievement for Egypt and a better economic growth and a better standard of living for all Egyptians.
Yes, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Yomna Hamaki, Professor of Economics, Ain Shams University. Thank you for being with us. Dear viewers, short break. We'll be back, so stay tuned.